The headliner crew is going to be in Indianapolis covering the combine for you this week. So it only makes sense that I now give you my pre-combine top 10 players of the 2022 NFL Draft. I'm going to quickly run through my top 10 players of the draft. And don't forget, if you want more detailed breakdown on these players, we offer that as member-only information that you can get by joining up on the channel and hitting the join button down below. There are like 4 players that you can make an argument as the top tackle in this year's draft. DeJuan Jones. At 6'8", 360 pounds, Jones has size, athleticism, and length to absolutely maul defensive players at the NFL level. And while there might be a little bit of a concern with some of his pass blocking technique, he is an absolute monster in the run game. And for whatever team that drafts him, he is going to become an instant impact player that is going to open up huge holes for any running back in the league. Number 9, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon. This guy might be the most complete cornerback in a draft that is full of really good cornerbacks. But what I love about Gonzalez is his physical toughness to play against any wide receiver in the league. This guy does not back down. He also has amazing instincts as a cornerback. He's a guy that can play zone or man. He reads defenses and quarterbacks so well that he can jump any play as it develops. This one is probably going to throw some of you off, and it's based on talent alone. Tight end Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. This could also be a very good tight end class this year, and Michael Mayer is heads and length above everybody else at the position. Because what Michael Mayer does so well is not just the offensive production and what he does as a pass catcher, but it's his ability to be an extra blocker on the offensive line. The dude just doesn't play like a tight end. The dude plays like an extra offensive lineman that can then go out and run 30-yard go routes and catch touchdowns. He has great awareness of the route tree, and in the right system, he can make an instant impact at the NFL level. At number 7, and going completely under the radar this year because he's in the same draft as Jalen Carter, is Bryan Bresee, interior defensive lineman out of Clemson. This is a former 5-star recruit, and by some outlets was the number 1 recruit in the nation when he signed with Clemson. Almost any outlet there can agree that Bryan Bresee is a really good player and is really a consensus top 20 player and first-round talent in this draft. The absolute only thing that is holding him outside of people's top 10 is his durability concerns. He's had some pretty major injuries while playing at Clemson. And yes, that can always carry over to the NFL and is a big concern for teams. I get it. But my evaluation, going over just talent alone, this guy, if he had not had any injuries at Clemson, would be an absolute lock to go in the top 5. My Athletic Greens Foundations building player of this draft is Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver out of Ohio State. There are a ton of similarities between JSN and my AG1 drink. First and foremost, getting every morning started with a scoop of AG1 is super simple and easy to do. And that's the way JSN is going to fit into any offense. JSN is a fabulous route runner, he's a great separator, and that is going to make life easier on any quarterback that they end up pairing him up with. And just like AG1 helps support my immune system and has other health boosting benefits, that's what JSN is going to do. He's going to help support and boost any offense that he goes to. I believe JSN is going to be a lot like Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that is matchup proof for what he can do because he's so good of a route runner and so good of a separator, and because they do so many things with him as a mismatch guy. They can move him all over and defenses cannot plan for him. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be the same exact way. If you're interested in starting your health journey with AG1, use the link in the description below to head on over to Athletic Greens, and when you check out, you're also going to get a free gift. At number 5, the unquestioned #1 running back in this draft, Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. To me, Bijan Robinson is a lot like Zeke Elliott when he came out of Ohio State, a complete running back. And when I say complete, I don't mean, oh, he can catch and run the football. I mean complete. Bijan Robinson has an effect all over the field. And one of the things I love about running backs is when they can also pass block. That was one thing that Zeke did really, really well coming out of college. So in the passing game, he could be out there at any point in time because he could go out for a pass or he could help block for the quarterback. Bijan Robinson is the same way. But then running the football, he's powerful, he's explosive, he's got top end speed, he's shifty, he's everything that you would want in a running back. Unfortunately, in today's NFL, executives, GMs, coaches discredit the position in the draft a little bit. And after we've seen the fall of some top running backs that were drafted in years past, you got to ask yourself, how high will teams actually draft Bijan? Number 4 is the quarterback out of Bama, Bryce Young. Really, the only issue with Bryce Young is his stature. He's a little bit small for an NFL quarterback in terms of bulk and height. Will that affect his durability throughout his career, though? I mean, I've already done my scouting report on Bryce Young, and you can see on the screen all of my thoughts about him. I still believe that he will be the #1 quarterback taken in this draft because I believe teams are going to look at him as the safest bet. Number 3, CJ Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. For the longest time, I have had CJ Stroud behind Bryce Young. But when I did my video breakdown for members, my film breakdown talking about CJ Stroud, I mentioned in that video that there could be a chance after I dig in a little bit more that I move him ahead of Bryce Young. And that is exactly what has happened now. When I did my film breakdown of CJ Stroud, I mentioned at that time that he could easily overtake Bryce Young as my quarterback 1 in this draft, and that has now happened. One of my biggest concerns for him coming in was the mental part of the game. If Ohio State wasn't winning, it felt like when they got behind that he just kind of maybe went through the motions and didn't really have what it took to lead his team back. But his performance in the college football playoff against Georgia absolutely cleared those concerns for me. As you can see by the scouting report, I still have him as a top 5 pick. He does have some things that he could work on, but ability-wise, he has a very high ceiling at the NFL level. Number 2 out of Georgia, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle. Jalen Carter can be an absolute game changer on the defensive line at the NFL level. This is a guy that stuffs up the middle of any offensive line and makes running backs, quarterbacks, whoever go to the outside. There is a reason that analysts believe that Jalen Carter could end up going ahead of most of the quarterbacks in this draft because he could be a game changer for many defenses at the NFL level. He is such a good run stopper that is automatically going to shut down entire parts of games for certain teams. My main concern with Jalen Carter is that if he doesn't have enough help rushing on the outsides, that he himself is going to take way too many double teams to actually get quarterback pressure on the inside. I think some people are like, hey, he could be a Aaron Donald type of game changer. I'm not ready to anoint him that yet, but I do think he's going to be really good. And number 1, the consensus for a lot of people is Will Anderson out of Alabama, edge rusher, maybe the most complete player in this draft. Sometimes when we label a player an edge rusher, everyone's mind automatically goes to just sacks. That's not what Will Anderson is. This is a guy that not only will get after the quarterback, but will also tackle anybody that comes near him and track down others that try to get away from him. Think of an outside pass rusher like Von Miller in his prime, and then picture an inside defender like Luke Kuechly. You morph those guys together and you get someone like Will Anderson who is going to make an impact all over the field. Even listed as an edge rusher, I don't have him as a guy that's going to play on the outside with his hand in the dirt. He's going to be a stand-up guy, whether it be playing linebacker in a 4-3 or playing on the edge in a 3-4 and being a guy that just goes all over the place and does whatever is needed by that defense. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button for me on the way out. In the comments down below, let me know a player that I don't have inside my top 10 that you would put inside yours. Subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see y'all from the Combine this coming week. Until then, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all in the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.